Okay. All right, we will go ahead and get started. This is a very quick, sort of more of an update meeting for the Small Business Committee, just to touch base about the current status of things with the food truck permitting fees. We've got 2 items on the agenda, and one is, again, just a quick touch base. So just to give an update where we stand, we had some truck owners come to us and let us know that the mobile food vending permit fees have tripled since last year. So Susan reached out to the Board of Health, and they explained what the process is for those fees changing, that they are reviewed annually. The state of Ohio sends them a spreadsheet to sort of input numbers into to help suggest what a fee should be. So they went through that process, input all the figures into the spreadsheet, and came up with this number. They did hold a public hearing regarding the permit fee changes, and they said no one attended. So we've reached out to request the spreadsheet and the numbers from 2024 and also 2023. We do not have 2023. The Board of Health did not feel that it was pertinent information to us and did not want to release that. So Mrs. Hoover submitted and copied me on a records request for it. There has been no response to this point. So we, the intention is to see what has changed so drastically from year to year. I don't think that this is as simple of an issue that we should expect each individual permit holder to take the time to dive into these numbers deeply. And I would like to understand where that price change comes from and to see what labor costs changed, or what is there a significant increase in time that we're spending on this permitting process? And really the only way that we can figure that out is by seeing both numbers back to back. So that is where we are at with that currently. Thoughts?
I just want to share a little bit. I had a really lovely conversation with Mr. Kolbinski, who is the environmental health director. I've only talked to him on the phone. I've never met him. But he is the gentleman who gave me the 2024 numbers, as well as the letter for a public hearing was mailed out on December the 5th, and the public hearing was on Monday, January the 13th. It's also my understanding in my conversation with Mr. Kolbinski that he's in the process of, or has, actually, I need to confirm that, if it was in process or completed, of having the documents translated into Spanish, and that he himself speaks Spanish, and that he has spent time trying to make sure that folks are understanding the information. I've never been there, but that's what the information that I've been given. And if there's other information, I'm happy to hear that as well. He did acknowledge that there was a lot more time this year, and part of that was sort of, I don't want to say cleaning up, but there was a lot of upkeep, housekeeping from the previous person who had that role, and that another thing apparently was an issue is he had to go find the food trucks rather than the food trucks coming to him.
In order to reissue permits?
Right. Which seems, it's your committee, sorry. Can you come up to the microphone, sorry, just so we can hear you? Sorry.
Hi, it's Humberto from Taqueria Los Cuñados. I don't think that's true. They have to find the food trucks, because I know a lot of people that got food trucks, and everybody renewed the license exactly this month, because expire the 1st of this month. It's every year starting March 1st, go for the next year to March 1st. And I just did my inspection today, actually, because I was so busy yesterday. But I have to make a schedule and go through all that, and I already got mine for this year. But I know a lot of folks in the area that we go to health department to do that. So,
it seems like it would be in the truck owner's best interest to
Yeah.
renew their permits. It doesn't seem like.
yeah, because, you know, you operate without license.
Sure. Yeah.
That was just from Mr. Kolbinski. He said that verbally, that he had to do some traveling to northern Kentucky even to track some folks down. So I'm not saying that it was everyone for sure, but that was an additional time that he had.
I'm sorry, what was the question? What happened?
So we were just discussing kind of where the update of where we're at with sort of digging into why this permit fee has changed so drastically. The information that we were given was that the Board of Health is given a spreadsheet by the state of Ohio. They type figures into it. It spits out a number of what the appropriate fee would be. So that's how they landed on this updated fee. And then they held a public hearing. Notices went out on December 5th. The hearing was held on January 13th. No one came to the hearing. They sent a notice to everyone who currently holds a permit within the city. We requested the 2024 spreadsheet and numbers that was sent to us. We then requested the 2023 in order to see what changed from year to year. That has not been given to us, so we've submitted a records request, but it has not been acknowledged yet. So that's just an update of where we're at.
So I think there's been a drastic increase, right? From my understanding.
Right.
That number from $87 or $97 a year to $317 was used to justify his salary,
Whose salary?
Roy's.
So what Ms. Bowling said is the way that there's an actual formula where you input all the information. Yeah. And that spits out the fee. So what we're doing is, so we have this year's paperwork on it. We don't have last year's.
So we can't see what changed.
Yeah, and what I don't understand, I've done my research. I'm sorry I didn't bring it because I've been busy.
That's
We're at our other restaurant, but that fee is the highest in the entire state of Ohio. Norwood has the highest mobile food license in the entire state of Ohio. I personally know the health inspectors that are downtown. As a matter of fact, this Thursday, every food truck that's within Ohio and Dayton they're doing what they call a food truck blitz, where they're going to have all of the food trucks in the state to go down to the downtown where the fire department is or wherever. And then what they do is they line them up and they have a row of health department on one side, fire department on the other side, and they just do an entire blitz. But that blitz only costs $250, if that. I think it was like $287. I don't know because I paid the $317 or $323 for Norwood. But and as far as having to locate us, I mean, most of us, I've been in that spot for 7 years now. It's going on 7 years I've been in that spot. Some of these trucks have been in these spots for the same 7 years. I intentionally asked them when I go and pay for this license, would you like for me to bring the truck to you, or would you like to come to the truck? From what I understand from the nice lady that's the receptionist that's there, she says, oh, we'll just mail it to you, which is unorthodox in itself because usually they inspect before they give you your license. But it was told that we'll just mail it to you. So there's no initiation from the health department whatsoever when it comes to dealing with this, only with the fee. So that drastic increase from $87 or $97 a year to $317 a year, that's a tall increase.
Yeah, and we are, I mean, all of us agree with you. We're trying to figure out what changed. And unfortunately, council and each of us as individuals and this committee have no say in this fee.
Yeah.
And we were not told about it ahead of time changing, so we had no advance notice or anything.
Well, additionally, the Board of Health is a separate entity than the
Right.
city of Norwood.
Yeah.
So it gets even more complicated. So we have no, we're not the boss of the board, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So we're trying to just figure out basically
Why the increase went from there.
what justification they had to increase that.
Yeah.
And if we don't know what it was the year before and why it was like that the year before, we don't know why the difference is there.
I wish I knew. I'd have brought me the paperwork from last year because I still have the
Okay.
statements in the paperwork from last year. I'll email them to one of you guys.
Yeah.
And as Mrs. Bowling said, you weren't here yet. This is a short update meeting.
Yeah.
Just to
We are going to schedule another meeting and have further conversations once we get additional paper.
Can I ask you guys, have there been any progress made on finding just like a spot to where I've talked to all of the food truckers and we're all willing to pay Norwood, right? That rent a month. If there was a spot where everybody can go to, if there was a spot that was built out specifically designed for food trucks, all of the trucks said that they would pay the city of Norwood to park in these particular spots. That means licensings. That means the inspections that the $150 for the sticker that we give to.
Do you have any ideas of a location?
There is one. I'm on Cameron Ave. I don't know what's the street where the quick pick store is. There's a empty parking lot by the school. It's a big parking lot right there. I mean, it's just an empty field. I'm sorry. There's an empty field.
Do we know who owns it?
I don't. I thought the city.
Okay.
I thought the city
I
owned
know
it.
what you're talking
Shoot
about.
me the address. We can, because,
I'm sorry.
oh, do you know? Because if the city doesn't own it,
Yeah.
non-starter, but we could, you know what I mean? So we would need some ideas.
Right.
Would be helpful,
But
but
my question is, has there been any other issues in terms of any police calls about the food trucks, any littering, any loitering, any solicitation, anything that will warrant the police or anybody getting involved where there's cleanup involved? Have there been any complaints of
I
anything?
haven't requested that information from the police,
Yeah.
so I mean, not that I'm aware of, but I am not up to date on.
Okay, that's all. I'll just-
records or anything.
You need a Ms. Hoover?
I've not heard anything. I've
Yeah.
never heard a complaint.
I have not heard any complaints, and I feel like someone would have told us if.
I would imagine, since we've been talking about this for 6 months.
Yeah.
So we're just here to find out why the increase went
Yes.
from one
Yeah, we
level
just
to
wanted
another.
to provide
increase.
an update about where, we didn't want anyone to think that we weren't paying attention to this issue or weren't trying to
Yeah.
get into it. It's just, unfortunately, the Board of Health is a separate entity. We don't actually have any more access to that information than any resident of Norwood does. So I just wanted to update everyone, especially all the permit holders, about where we're at in that process.
Right.
That we are,
Yes, we
trying to
haven't-
find the info.
Yeah, we are aware, and we're trying to do what we can to dig into it more, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I just
To
think,
make the process, if there's a way
Yeah.
that we can facilitate the
Yeah.
process.
Right.
Yeah.
That, I mean, because I'll speak for myself, and I think most of the folks in this room want food trucks to be successful here. I find them to be a value add. So I want to do what we can to make sure that the businesses are doing well.
and I think they are, and I don't mind sharing this information with you guys. My particular truck, I mean, I did $500,000 last year.
Nice.
So it benefits us, me being down, being down there. If I went somewhere else where they fall, of course they would. I mean, I'm crazy busy at my other store, but I live in Norwood. I want to stay in Norwood. I want to contribute to Norwood. I want to, I want Norwood to thrive. I want to open up in Siri Square. And I tell you the truth, I want to buy Will DeLuca's old building down by Xavier, but that's a different story. But I want to stay in Norwood, especially with our notoriety and with our visibility and our ability to get the word out and people to pay attention to us. I think it'll be a good thing. But I really do, and I think I text you that I really would like to stay in Norwood. I would like to open up a brick and mortar in Norwood, either in Siri Square or either at down there by Xavier University. Just right now, the rents are just so astronomically high that it's not a good business decision to actually do that.
Yeah, I know,
right
especially the station the rent is very high.
Yeah. So
Just-
yeah. So the trucks are, and we're hiring. I think I'm hiring 3 people from Norwood to work that truck. So I'm hiring within the community to work it. And I'm looking to open up another store next year. So the 2 communities that I actually live in and have my first brick and mortar in, we're hiring people like nonstop. And so I think it benefits the community. I think it benefits everybody as a whole. And if there's been no complaints, listen, I'm more than happy to contribute whatever funds, whatever thing we have to, to do to make this thing right. And I'm promising you guys, I'm giving my words that I'm coming to you guys before I go anywhere else with this stuff. But if we can make this work, I would really appreciate it.
We are doing our best.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
gonna do what we can.
But could you send me that address?
I will.
And I'll look into it.
I will. I can't remember the name of the street. I do live right around the corner from it, but it's
I'm awful with street names, so I'm not judging.
I can picture,
the school that I'm sorry.
I can picture it in my mind.
I'm sorry?
On Montgomery?
It's off of Montgomery. It's, there's a school that's right next to it. That used to be there, that they tore it
Near
down.
Allison.
Oh,
Yes.
Allison.
Yes, that's a gigantic field.
Oh, that's going to be townhomes.
It's gonna be townhomes.
If that's what next to the building, next to the
Yes.
school.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was purchased by Ventura, and it's going to be. Has he come to Planning Commission?
I actually just asked about that, but the plan right now is that area is going to be single-family homes, and then there's another area with townhomes, and then the remaining school building will be apartments.
Okay, I just seen him. We were just talking the other day too.
But I don't think any official plans have been
Right.
submitted.
Or-
That's just kind of what has been said verbally.
Where Factory 52 is the old hotel that used to be there. I know they're building something right there, but I think Nick was interested in putting like some kind of food truck back in Factory 52 area, like a food truck park back in Factory 52 area, or maybe, I know they bought that, so maybe
Oh, yeah.
that's an actual idea to talk to Nick, who's a project manager for Factory 52, about that. I mean, other than that, I haven't ridden around the city to kind of see, but it makes sense business-wise to be someplace that's visible, that people can access us, where it's not an impediment to traffic at, where it's not a danger to people, cars pulling in, where people are.
We've discussed a few spaces, like a few parking spaces that exist, and we've kind of, so far at least, have run into some barriers with each of those. They all present like different challenges.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I'm interested in, at least. And we've sort of toyed around with a couple different spots, but have not found something that seems feasible and safe for everyone.
And maybe that's the sort of thing. I feel like, Mr. Moore, this is kind of your
Your wheelhouse.
your wheelhouse. I don't know if you know, he's the connector behind Birdie's,
Okay.
taking it from the paint tape building
Oh,
to
okay.
what it is today. We own this gentleman for connecting. He's like, no, but it was him. He had the idea. He brought the people together. But I'm wondering if one of the things you should be having conversations with some of the developers, like, so there's going to be all the on Wasson Way. They're building that giant
Uptown Properties
Uptown
is, yeah.
Properties, and that's
Good idea.
and so there's going to be a parking lot there. I would be curious if you had some conversations with them.
That I did not. I have not known about. But I always thought putting a food truck park up by Watson Way was a very, very good.
I think it'd be a great,
very good idea.
And I think there would be a big draw.
I think there'd be a huge draw
Let
for
me
me.
reach out
Coffee shop has
to
been parking in the parking lot like halfway.
what the developers, the rep,
Patrice.
Patrice. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure at first if your comment about space was about like that
No, it's-
line them up, knock them down inspection process, or if you're talking about food truck park. Are you looking for a space that could be a recurring, like programmable food truck park space?
Since the city, and I'm not saying you guys, because you guys represent the city, but since for some reason there's this big issue about these trucks being parked at these businesses, which I don't know why, but there has been it's an issue, which is the reason why we're here today. But there was propositions about building a food truck park, and if there was a space to build those food truck parks at. But what I'm saying is that we can make this process a lot easier from when it comes to inspections, when it comes to everything. I think they're missing out, especially when it comes to like the fire inspections, right? I think the city is missing out on money because they charge us $150 for a sticker, right? They charge us $250 to do a pressure test on the propane. Blue Ash does, right? To do a pressure test on the propane tanks, right? But those licenses are good. Those are good for 2 years. But why? I live in Norwood, so I would rather Norwood do the inspections and do all of the safety stuff. Then that way, if the trucks are parked within the city and within city limits, you know that they're safe because you inspected them. You went in there and you said, okay, this is safe. This is safe. This is safe. You understand? Does that make
Makes sense.
sense? So what I'm saying is that if we can come up with with an essential plan to say, okay, food trucks possibly can go here, We can build this here, we can build stages, we can do things. Then that gives, I think it brings not only notoriety and it'd be a big draw to the city itself, but I think bring extra funds as well.
Yeah, no, I love that idea. My wife and I went to Portland 2 years ago.
Oh my
and
God, they have them everywhere.
yeah, there's lots of food truck parks, and I literally like took a video walking into it, like, what is this place? And I sent it to a bunch of people in Norwood, like, can we get one of these in Norwood? So like, I hear you, and like,
Thing about those
I see
is
the vision.
they're privately owned.
That's not, yeah.
It is a cool concept, and I would even be happy with like 2 designated parking spots on the street. Like I think a park would be incredible, but I also think even just having like designated available parking where they can park and open in a
The
visible.
reason that it's so dangerous on the streets, because on this corridor, right, especially when you go by, when you go down Montgomery and you're going past Speedway, Kroger's, some of those shops, it's a little dangerous for people to cross.
Right.
Like, and I remember a few years ago when we were talking about, I think Emily and you remember when we were talking about the corridor and redoing the corridor and how dangerous that spot, it is to cross those streets. Sometimes even crossing by La Rosa's can be a little dangerous because the traffic is just zipping by and people are trying to catch that. They're trying to catch the yellow light, which next turns
So
red.
you know that Montgomery Road's being redone?
Yeah.
Yes, I read that.
And the beautification process includes some traffic calming and pedestrian safety measures.
Got you.
So
Okay.
there are things in the works to help with that safety concern. What I will say is it's 6:25. We have to be finished by 6:30.
So one question, while they're doing that, right? What will the food trucks that live in Norwood but live in apartments, will they still be allowed to park their trucks on a property, or how would that go? Right? Because if they're putting them on the street and off of the business, well then if they live in an apartment building in Norwood, right, where would they be allowed to park their trucks overnight?
Nothing should be changing about overnight parking.
Yeah, nothing would be changing with that. This would be, just be another area that they
I'm
could.
sorry, I know,
No.
Oh, no,
you're
you're
fine.
fine.
I just want to make sure, I would like to get, in hopes that we then, by this point, have access to the 2023 numbers, so we can come in a little more informed and be able to figure some things out. I would like to get a meeting scheduled. Do we think, pending the availability, what Tuesday does the finance committee meet?
It will be the Tuesday, it is the 25th, the
Oh,
fourth
beautiful.
Tuesday.
What do we think about the 18th?
We have a housing committee meeting at 6.
Okay.
You do 6:30.
Depends on how long the house.
That also is everyone's Tuesday off.
The housing
Maybe-
meeting is going to be a long one. We're having the Wasson Way development and Quality Inn.
Okay, let's not do that day then. What do we think about? How about a Monday evening?
That'll be fine. We can figure it.
What do we think about the 24th? That's further out than I would like, but 17th is St. Patrick's Day, and I don't want people to not be available because of that.
Oh, I'm fine with the 17th too, or the 24th.
I want to make sure all the trucks, I would
I'm
imagine the
actually
trucks might be
gone the
booked at like
24th.
Oh.
bars that day, so I want to
Yeah,
make sure.
that is,
It's a big holiday.
I didn't think about that.
Would the 24th work?
I'm out of town.
If
Okay.
if it works for just.
That's okay, we'll look at
Jeff.
another date.
Who are you?
31st? Is that too late?
Monday the 31st?
That works for me.
Okay. Pencil that in.
Jeff, that works for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we want to do 6 o'clock, 6:30? What works best?
6 is great for me, if that is easy for people to get
Is
there.
that okay for food truck vote?
Okay.
On a Monday?
Okay,
Okay,
and you guys
I
can help
will-
spread the word?
Send that email now.
I'll even have our president of our association come on.
Great. Beautiful. Okay, we will get that penciled in. We had a second item on the agenda, but we have run out of time, so we will move that to, it's okay. We were short on time to begin with, that's okay.
It-
We will move that to the next meeting. Anybody have anything else? Okay, great. We will go ahead and wrap things up here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I need to go to bed.
Thank you, guys.